Now, how'd you get down there? How did you get?
I took a bus.
Did you take a bus? Which one you take?
They got a bus at least from the Hilton every day around 10:30.
Oh yeah.
It's $30.
Round trip?
Not one way
Okay.
from San Francisco to LA. It takes you all the way to Hollywood.
What's the one?
That's where you want to go anyway when you go to LA.
They call Megabus.
Yeah. I thought about taking Megabus, but
I don't know. Yeah.
this bus was it's faster. It doesn't make any stops all the way. It stops once in San Jose, and that's it.
That's sweet. Yeah, I mean that was always the thing with Greyhound, where you just get to sleep.
Yeah, fuck Greyhound. I took Greyhound once, and I'll never take it again.
I took it. Well, they.
Amtrak's the only way to go if you're going around the country.
Like a number two.
Yeah, I took Amtrak from DC to here.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It's DC to Chicago, and then Chicago to San Francisco.
Oh.
Well,
I would like
to Emeryville.
I did that by bus.
Oh God.
Cincy to Cincinnati.
I did it by hitchhiking.
Chicago. Yeah. I never forget I'm going across the flats of Nevada.
Here, let's walk over and get some.
This nice fellow there, he was a Sikh,
Oh yeah.
and he was like speaking like political asylum, and just riding the buses. And we talked for a while, and he ends up, and we're in the middle of Nevada. He's falling asleep on my shoulder.
Okay.
Okay, man. Yeah.
So we're down here at the Oakland Convention Center, 1001 Broadway, here in beautiful downtown Oakland. I'm minus the chair today. We'll see how that works out. Damn radicals.
Hey.
How's it going?
You're walking well.
I got one.
You're
already.
walking well. You're walking well.
20th?
20th. Oh, 20th and the 21st. It's going to be a good weekend.
It's like the 21st climate.
Exactly. Right
Climate
here
gathering.
in Lake Merritt.
So yeah, we're talking about the Occupy San Francisco third annual convergence.
Time. What's the time?
It'll be on Saturday, September 20th at 4 p.m.
Dark.
For more information, go to occupysf.org and it'll let you know everything that's going on. Cool. Cool. So we're down here talking about Urban Shield and police militarization of our community here in Oakland. And I'm a new resident of Oakland. I just moved down here. And I'm going to... And what we have here is a convention of cops at this convention center, and trying to sell all their hardware and all their other crap that police need to use to beat down people like they did in Ferguson. So we're happy that you're joining us. We got a little bit of a crowd. Last year's event had a bunch more people, but it looks like we're going to be very well attended today.
But you think our office?
And we've got all kinds of cops down here. Oh, of course, they got to protect themselves. Fucking bacon. So we'll see what the police response is to this today.
We need some photos around one of the vendor shirts.
See? So we got a pretty decent crowd. And you know that I'm no lover of cops. That's for damn sure.
Sometimes we don't talk to each other.
So they got the Alameda sheriffs down here today, huh?
Yeah, they were here last time. I can't seem to pull that in. I wonder if it's too much bandwidth. Doesn't make sense.
What's that? No, you should be able to pull it in.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to pull in to see if I can see if my stream's broadcasting from the shoulder.
Oh.
So it's not getting a buffer on it.
That's not good. So we got a pretty good crowd down here. We got at least 100 people down here for Urban Shield, this little police convention that they have down here at the Marriott Hotel. It's a very ugly building too, by the way, as you can see. Yeah, I should have worn a press pass today.
Go to the dashboard. I'll go to the dashboard instead and see if I can't get this thing to work. That's not right.
Yes, I'll have it this weekend.
This is my first time out in more than a month. I had to take a little break, folks. So I hope you didn't miss me too much. So we got people on both sides of the streets here today. We got James out here with his flag. So let's hope it's going to be a peaceful rally today. And rallies down here have been known to be violent in the past.
I got the, yeah, I got the, oh, right on.
So we're going to stay down here for about an hour or so, I guess. And I'm on my regular phone, so I don't have a lot of battery power. I've ordered some more batteries, so we'll see what happens. Got quite a bit of press down here. Anyway, if you want to retweet me, that's at Freeman Sullivan.
Did you have a chance to... Maybe actually do have a chance.
I also don't want to push you. Yeah, that's pretty disaster. I got pictures of them.
See, I think you've been Ali, right? Yeah. Okay. Hopefully they're like...
So we're coming out and join us if you're in Oakland or in the Bay Area. We're at 1001 Broadway, which is about a block from the 12th Street BART station here in downtown Oakland.
Were you part of a crew of people that just got oriented, or?
I've been like
some more music down here. More people are showing up. Anyway, they have this convention every year here in downtown Oakland. And we're rallying against police militarization.
Check.
We're going to have some speakers here in
Oakland, how y'all feeling out there? Y'all feeling good? Y'all let them
Alright, so who came out here today to stop Urban Shield? Make some noise. Alright, so what it's going to look like today is we are going to hear from some speakers, some representatives from our community, some members of our community. Then we are going to make some noise, we're going to be chanting, and we are going to be taking a stand against Urban Shield, because whether it's in the Marriott in Oakland or somewhere in San Francisco or elsewhere in the Bay, we don't want Urban Shield to happen in the first place, am I right? Okay, so my name is Kamal. I'm one of the local coordinators with the Stop Urban Shield Coalition. I'm also a member of Critical Resistance, and I'm really excited that everyone is out here today. I'm excited to invite even more people to come out here today, and we are going to start off by hearing from an organization that does a lot of work in the Oakland community. Kat is here and ready to share some words about why Onyx and community members across Oakland oppose Urban Shield and police militarization. Make some noise for Kat, everyone. Powder people. Powder people, fists in the air. Powder people, fists in the air. I want to give a shout out to my co-chair GP who's here with me. And a shout out to the organizers. I am so juiced to see so many people out here saying no to Urban Shield, saying no to the militarization of our police force. Ferguson shone a bright light on something that Oakland residents know very well. That since the 80s, the military has been supplying our police with military weapons and technology that are utilized on the citizens when they are peacefully protesting. It was Alphabet City here, FBI, DEA, FATF, CIA. Remember all the black suits in the cars and the tanks during Oscar Grant? And all the tanks and the technology during Occupy? This is nothing new. But this is our opportunity to get people that were not otherwise interested, that were horrified to see the streets of Ferguson look like Iraq. And I want to do a little calling out of our city council today, because I understand that some of them had representatives here saying no to Urban Shield, And oh, isn't this so terrible? But in case you didn't know, City Council has to rubber stamp the expenditure for this event. They have to approve the expenditure for the firefighters and the police officers to be here for 4 days. So don't let them come out here and play like they don't know what's going on. They know exactly what's going on. And they want Urban Shield in Oakland because they want our police agencies to have this wet technology, because why? We stay in the streets. We stay in the streets, and we're going to stay in the streets, and we're going to run you right up out of Oakland. So power to the people.
Just real quick, I want to follow up on what my co-chair was saying. For those of you who don't realize what's going on, literally this city is preparing for what it's going to do when martial law comes. When you take officers who are supposed to protect and serve normal citizens and you give them military training, then you're not training them to deal with citizens. They're only training to treat us like enemy combatants. They already have legislation that says that people like us who come out and defend our so-called civil rights are considered domestic terrorists because we don't agree with the laws of this country. And they turn around and use our space to teach these pigs how to further come out and violate us. But if we stand out here and do self-defense trainings, we're wrong. If we teach our people how to fight back, we're considered wrong. But they steady teach these pigs how to come out here and assault us, annihilate us, and murder us with more skill and more efficiency. Yet they say it's a cash-strapped county. So let's get Urban Shield out of here. People like Cass say, man, we're going to stay in the streets every time there's anything like this going on. So power to the people and all power to y'all for being here.
Put your fist up. Put your fist up one time. Put your fist up one time. Have y'all ready to stop Urban Shield? Make some noise, y'all. We are Bando 55. I want to keep the vibes going, keep the movement moving. Yeah.
Alright, so after hearing from Onyx, hearing from some of the members of our community that are speaking out against Urban Shield and trying to talk more about what it means to keep our community safe, we are going to hear from someone from the Malcolm X grassroots movement. Senyaka has been throwing down in Oakland for years and years and years, trying to build a healthier and safer Oakland, and he's going to come up here and talk about why folks with the Malcolm X grassroots movement oppose Urban Shield.
Free the land, free the land, free the land. I'm Senyaka with Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. One thing to note, since 1968, when the first SWAT team was organized in Los Angeles in South Central, it was organized to combat primarily the Black Panther Party. Right, so we have to always keep in mind that this sort of activity is a direct result of the state trying to repress the political activity of the oppressed nationality communities in this country, right? The only reason this sort of thing exists is to keep us in our place. It's the only reason. We are morally obligated to stand against this and whenever it comes down. And it's a great victory to announce too that they're not going to be having this at the Marriott next year. Yeah. Because of the organizing of the people here for years against this sort of activity, right? So y'all need to give yourselves a round of applause for that victory. It's not the end. It's definitely not the end. We need to keep at it. Every 28 hours, a black man, woman, or child is being killed extrajudiciously in this country. Partly thanks to activities like this, partly because they're getting trained up in how to repress our communities. And that's open genocide. The way they're doing this against black folks, they're doing it to Latino communities. It's directly tied to the surveillance activities of the state, directly tied to the expansion of the prison system. All of that is an interrelated system. It's the same system, and I thank you so much for being out here to combat this, to call these pigs out, right? Just keep at it. Educate yourselves about about just the full extent of the national security state, the way it's coming down on the different communities out here, right, and build up a mass movement against it, right? That's all I got to say. Free the land. Free the land.
All right, make some noise for Senyaka and the Malcolm X grassroots movement. So another thing about the Malcolm X grassroots movement is that a little over a year ago, they put out a report about how a black man is killed every 28 hours by police or security type forces. And that is something important and relevant to today, especially here in Oakland, where the killing of young black men is an epidemic. And it's something relevant across the U.S. because this is a major issue when we're talking about the impact of policing on communities of color. Now we are about to hear from Lara, who is with the Arab Resource and Organizing Center, also known as AROC, to talk about the ways that militarization and policing impact Arab and Muslim communities and immigrant communities and communities of color across the board. So Lara, come on up.
Hi, so my name is Lara and I'm with AROC. And AROC works to address the political, economic, and social impacts of anti-Arab and Muslim racism here in the Bay Area. And we organize, we advocate, and serve our community towards that end. And we see the impact of Urban Shield as the epitome of this, the policing, repression, and murder of brown and black communities. We are here today to protest against Urban Shield. Urban Shield represents everything our communities have been fighting against for years, from the militarism, state repression, surveillance, policing, and state violence. We know that this doesn't begin or end with Urban Shield. However, we also know that we're here to put an end to one piece of this monster called global repression. Today, we've confirmed that our organizing has worked and we've caused Urban Shield to move out of the Marriott for next year. We also know it's still planned to take place somewhere else in Alameda County. So we say no to Urban Shield anywhere, and we say no to militarism everywhere. We hold our city officials accountable for letting this happen in our city, just as we hold our city officials accountable for allowing the apartheid state of Israel to do business as usual in our neighborhoods, to train our police, to work with law enforcement corporations, neighborhoods, and city agencies. As Palestinians, as Arabs, we want the city of Oakland to know, we want the San Francisco Bay Area to know that we will not allow our colonizers to do business in our town. And we will not allow local police to terrorize our communities. And we will hold every city official accountable for their role in making this happen. Recently, we blocked the Zim ship for a historic 4 days. The Bay Area made history. Not only is Zim linked to the racist apartheid and colonial state of Israel, the same state of Israel that massacres Palestinians day in and day out, but Zim also ships weapons from the state of Israel into our backyards to be used on our communities. At the Port of Oakland, thousands of us in the Bay Area let the world know that in Oakland, we make things happen on our own terms. We do not take orders from corporations, from corrupt governments or police. Whether it's the corporations exhibiting their technology and equipment right across the street, or the corporations that are gentrifying our neighborhoods, they are really the root cause of violence. Whether Urban Shield really is the root cause of violence in our city and everywhere. They use this as an example of securing and making our neighborhoods safe. The root cause of violence is the state. State violence is the root cause of violence. And we know that that violence is directed at the poor, at the brown, and the black. And we are here to let the world know that our communities will continue to resist state violence and repression. We are not scared of your weapons. We are not scared of your fear tactics. We are not scared of your expos or your exercises. as the people of Ferguson have shown, as the people of Palestine has shown, as we are showing today, we will continue to resist attempts to silence us, to cage us, to crush our movements. We are building a movement, and we will continue to do so until we are all free, from Ferguson to Oakland to Palestine. Thank you.
All right, make some more noise for Lana from A-Rock. Okay, so we are about to hear really quickly from Woods, who is a member of Critical Resistance here in Oakland. I know that the Critical Resistance Oakland chapter, because I am also a part of it, has done a lot of work around policing, including gang injunctions, as well as doing solidarity work with prisoners in solitary and imprisoned across the state of California. Woods is going to be coming up and talking about the reasons why Critical Resistance as an abolitionist organization supports resistance against Urban Shield. Give it up for Woods, y'all.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Woods Irvin, and I'm a member of Critical Resistance. Critical Resistance is an abolitionist organization that fights to shrink and eventually eradicate the prison industrial complex, of which policing is a part. So today, Critical Resistance stands in solidarity to protest Urban Shield. The fundamental reason is because of what Urban Shield is actually here to accomplish, which is to increase the capacity for the expansion of war making on black and brown communities. At Urban Shield, the technology that is distributed, the training, tactics, and strategies that are shared will be used to target communities of color in East and West Oakland. They will also be used on those who act in dissent and protest and organize for self-determination. Given that Oakland is policing resistant, Urban Shield's use of Alameda County as a testing ground becomes all the more chilling in its logic. In addition to its local impact, Urban Shield will continue the spread of police militarization nationally and internationally, the effects of which can be seen at present with the murder of Mike Brown and the turning of Ferguson, Missouri into a war zone when faced with community outrage and protest. The use of Israeli military training as part of Urban Shield connects it to continued assault on Gaza. Urban Shield justifies itself in the same way that police militarization projects have always done, by utilizing exceptional circumstances as a reason to grow the military power of policing. But once an incident has passed, the heightened military aspects remain behind and diffuse into everyday policing practice. This is why we have SWAT teams in the first place, and explains their proliferation. We at Critical Resistance know that the way to stop war making on our communities is to demilitarize policing. What is important when thinking about addressing that task is that there has always been some aspect of militarism in informal policing. The foundation of both military and policing power is the same: the state-sanctioned capacity to use physical force to accomplish their respective objectives, whether they occur abroad or within the United States. Militarized policing is what policing is. As an organization committed to abolishing all parts of the prison industrial complex, including police, Critical Resistance believes that it is imperative that we work to dismantle Urban Shield. In addition, we must continue to work in solidarity nationally and internationally against the logics of policing. Critical Resistance has recently launched a project where we work with community members to identify concrete alternatives to address harm and violence that don't involve police, and then actually build those resources. Urban Shield may assert that its goals are in the service of safety, but our communities know better. We also know what actually keeps us safe and healthy, and we must continue to take up the challenge of realizing those things to grow our capacity to live and fight against state repression.
All right, everybody make some noise for Woods with Critical Resistance. So up next is our final speaker before we start to make some real loud noise is Tara from the War Resisters League. War Resisters League has been an organization supporting resistance against Urban Shield across the country, from Boston all the way here to Oakland, and Lada is going to speak on their work and the impacts of Urban Shield. Lada, come on up. Tara. Hey y'all!
My name is Tara, and I'm from the Warrior Sisters League in New York City. So we're all here today to stop Urban Shield Oakland, but actually Urban Shield is happening in Boston, Dallas, Austin, and Fort Worth. It's a phenomenon that's taking over this whole country. Urban Shield also reaches around the world. It trains police departments from Brazil, Singapore, and South Korea who are in here today. A transfer of policing strategies is happening in the Marriott Convention Center right now. It's what allowed Israeli police to train St. Louis's former police department chief, Joseph Mukwa, in tactics of occupation and brutality that were used to oppress people in Ferguson. Inside those walls, a movement of money is happening too, between the weapons industry and global police departments. If you walk into those doors, you're going to see MRAP tanks, micro drones, tear gas canisters, military assault rifles. Those are wartime weapons that are being sold to police department reps in the U.S. such as Pittsburgh, Newark, and Minneapolis, and then those international police teams that are in there today. But if we took all these tactics and weapons away from the police, we would still be left with a mentality of policing and militarization, a mentality that has historically dehumanized and policed communities of black, brown, Muslim, Arab, poor, immigrant, gender non-conforming, and trans people all around this world. A mentality that makes t-shirts for sale inside that building that say, keep calm and return fire. Or a DNA machine that's made by Homeland Security that within 90 minutes checks if you have blood relatives in this country when you apply for a visa. Militarization and policing are always sold to the U.S. audience in the name of humanitarian intervention, right to protect, public safety, emergency responsiveness, rapid response, right? We know that with all that Department of Homeland Security funding, that none of that security is for, none of that safety is for those of us who are here today. What they call protection is actually wartime profiteering. Urban Shield is one piece of a large movement of police militarization, a movement that brings together the war on drugs, the war on terror, the war on immigration, all down on communities in this country. We know that the police programs such as 1033 and 1122 that transfer weapons from the Pentagon to police departments, or fusion centers that survey our communities, or urban area security initiative that funds 39 urban areas to have programs like Urban Shield is happening, right? Yeah. And these are all part of the U.S. militarization movement that's grown around this world for decades. So at Warrior Sisters League, we're working to end police militarization programs. We're looking to end the ways that communities across the globe are put under siege by state repression. So the Alameda County Sheriff's Office and the Pentagon, the weapons industries and the police departments, they're all coordinating, but so are we. We represent a lot of communities here today from around the globe, and we are powerful too. They're trying to build a movement of police militarization, but we have a people power movement. We can end police militarization. If you want to chat with me, no justice, no peace. No militarized police. No justice, no peace. No militarized police.
Alright, so just to make sure that we are all on the same page, I'm going to go over really quickly what the demands are for the Stop Urban Shield in Oakland Coalition. So number one is to decrease the violence in our communities by ending the militarization of police. So we demand that the City Council defund all activities related to Urban Shield and that all city agencies withdraw their participation in Urban Shield. So that includes OPD, that includes the fire department, that includes emergency medical services, because there are other trainings that we could do to keep our communities safe. Our communities refuse to be testing grounds for tactics of global repression, so we demand that the city end all collaborations with the apartheid state of Israel. We call on the city of Oakland to reject all U.S. wars and occupations here and abroad, and we call on the city of Oakland to issue a report on all collaborations between the Oakland Police Department and international law enforcement agencies. We're also demanding community self-determination, because Bay Area residents need to have decision-making power in the process to determine the priorities for public safety and emergency preparedness. We demand that the City of Oakland invest in community-based programs to prevent and decrease violence and harm in our communities instead of increasing militarization. And we call on our communities from today until the next day and the next month and the next year to continue fighting back and resisting state violence and repression. So we're asking all of our allies here in the streets, all of our allies that can't be here today, to adopt these principles and take a stand against the policing and repression of our communities. Make some noise if you agree with these demands.
To make sure our demands are heard, we want to take this to the streets. So I want everyone to move towards off the sidewalk to the street so we can take over and make sure our demands are heard and that we can show them what our movement is. We're moving to the streets, so just go.
If y'all feeling that organized people power, make some noise, y'all, for that organized people power one time. Because we believe in that community self-determination. We need to end police militarization. We're doing more than just get by, we staying organized. Yeah. We taking the streets. We taking our communities back. We're saying no to urban shield. We all about that people power, community self-determination. Stop urban shield and police militarization. From Oakland to Ferguson to Palestine to Oakland, back to the Philippines, and everywhere in between, we stand on the side of the people. Taking these streets back. We're Bando 55, providing that music for the movement. We want to give much love and respect to all the organizers. A-Rock, Critical Resistance, Underground East Bay, Malcolm X, Grassroots Movement. All the organizers putting it down.
I know that guy! I know, I saw that.